Welcome to the third and final part of this series, Excel VBA Conditional Statements for Beginners. So you can do a simple conditional statement now, a simple if statements. You can also do something a little bit more complicated, which is saying to Excel, if this is happening, do that. If this is not happening, then do this. That's what we did when we put the else in the if statement. In the previous video, we did quite a complex task, went through a database, counted up some entries. Now, we've just counted up the entries, which is a fairly simple thing to do, but you might be doing something much more sophisticated than that. You might be taking these values, putting them into reports, putting them on different sheets, putting a value into a model, taking down the output. You could be doing any number of things. We're only giving simple examples, and the sky's the limit once you start combining techniques together. In this final video, we're going to look at the most sophisticated technique, and let's be clear first about conceptually what we're trying to do. Well, we know a simple if statement. If this is happening, let's do that. We know a more complicated if statement using else. If this is happening, do that. If it's not happening, do this. In this case, we're going to look at select case in this case, and this allows us to have multiple options. If this is happening, do that. If that's happening, do this. If that's happening, do that, etc., etc. You know, any number of options we could put in. We're only going to use 3 or 4 in this video, but super powerful technique. And with these 3 techniques, you're going to be able to get, I'm pretty sure, 100% of coding tasks done where you need a conditional statement. So with that said, let's get into the video. We've got the same file here. I hope you've been working along with me. We've got simple if, we've got if else. Now, let's think about what we're trying to do here. So let's suppose somebody came along and said, listen, you've got this database, it has ages in. I want to be able to group these ages, which is a common thing for people to want to do. They might say how many people aged 19 to 25, etc., etc. We want to group the ages, do an analysis like that. How would we go about doing that? You might want to stop the video, think about how you might do that. This is something more complex because we haven't just got 2 options. Let's suppose we want to create 3 age groups. Now, in real life, you might want to create more. Just for the purposes of the demonstration, you want to create 3 age groups. So we want to say to Excel, look at the age. If the age is below a certain number, do that. And then we want another option. If it's below 25, do this. If it's below 50, do that. If it's below 75, do that. So that's the logic that we're trying to do. Be clear about the logic conceptually, what you're trying to do before you get into the code. So how might we do this? Well, one thing we know, a simple if statement isn't going to do this. An if else statement that gives us 2 options, not going to do it either. So what else have we got? Well, we're going to introduce something completely new, certainly in terms of the syntax, which is select case. So it does involve some new syntax, but it will be worth it. This is super powerful. Let's get into it. So select case. Let's say select case statement. Okay, so we need this line of code first, which is select case. And then we've got to tell Excel what we're interested in. So what should Excel look at when it's making this decision about what to do? So let's just say selection.value here. So we've got select case selection.value. We're saying to Excel, the thing I want you to look at is the value in the selected cell. And then how do we close a select case statement? We say end select. So we've got a basic construct here. We've bookended, if you like, the code. Just like when you open and close a loop, it's a good idea to, when you open a conditional statement, to close it at the same time so you don't forget to do it later. That might get confusing. So select case and end select. Now, in the middle here, this is where we have to put the conditions in. So this is where we describe the conditions and tell Excel what to do. So let's firstly have case. What age have we got here? We've got 27 here. So a simple example first. Let's say case 27, and then we're going to say case else. So what's going on here? So we're saying to Excel, look at the value in the selected cell. Then with this case 27 thing, we're saying if that value is 27, do something. In this case, if the value is 27, do the code below this line. So let's say message box. There we go. And then if it's not 27, then we're just going to say this is not 27. So you would have noticed there's only two options here, only two conditions. We could do this using if, else, end if, but we're going to put more conditions in, scale this up very quickly. So let's see, let's select this cell that has 27 in. Then let's see what happens. Okay, this is 27. Then let's select a cell that doesn't have 27 in. F8 key, hitting the F8 key to work through the code, reset the code there. F8, and this is not 27. So we just got the basic construct there. Simple example, but you've got new syntax that you're dealing with. Good idea to have a look at a simple example first. We've got select case, what you want Excel to look at. Could be a variable, could be a range, could be something else, usually a range or a variable. And then this is how we set things up. If this condition is met, Excel is going to do that. In this case, we said case else. If none of the conditions are met, Excel is going to do this. So how are we going to get this to work? Remember, we want to analyze this age data. We want to effectively group the data. So how many people younger than 30? How many people younger than 60? How many people over 60? Let's just use those conditions. So in this case, got to stop saying that in this case. Very, very annoying. There we go. So we want to say less than 30. Now we're asking Excel to do a quick piece of numerical analysis, and Excel will put an is in here. Case is less than 30. You don't need to worry about is. If we're working with text, for example, Excel will not put an is in there. If we're saying less than 30, a quick numerical calculation, Excel will put the is in there for us. So if the value is less than 30, this is going to happen. And then let's say case less than 60. There we go. And then let's say case 60. So this is under 30. Let's put in the message box. Make this message box a little bit more informative. This is under 30. And this is, let's say, between 31 and 60. Between 30 and 60, actually. 30 and 59 it will be. There we go. And then we're going to have case else. So we're going to have message box. This is, of course, here we go. This is between, and then this is above 60. There we go. So we've got our syntax there, and you can see how I very, very quickly was able to add another case, another condition in there. We're using 3 conditions here, but you could be using any number of conditions. I've set this up with 12 conditions or more for certain situations. So we've only got 3 conditions here. You could quickly scale this up for any number of conditions. So let's select the first cell here. And case, so what are we expecting to happen here? Well, the value in the selected cell is 27. So yeah, we'd expect that to happen. This is under 30. Let's go to this cell here. We've got 54 here. So what will we expect to happen here? Stepping through the code. This is between 30 and 59. Again, my syntax is not too bad. My English spelling requires improvement. There we go. So I'm feeling more confident in this code now. So hold down the control key, copy this button down. There we go. And then edit text. Then let's say select case. There we go. Attach the macro. My macro has got an informative name. Select case statements. Attach the macro to that button. And now we can just run this. Okay. So between 30 and 59. Have we got anybody above 60 here? We haven't. So I'm going to change Julia's age here. There we go. This is under 30. Okay, that's because I've selected the wrong cell there. There we go. And this is above 60. So we can see there, whatever age we're selecting now, we're getting a quick feedback via the message box. And that is telling us that the logic of this statement seems to be working well. Now, you might be thinking, well, hang on, we've got to work through all of the data in order to create this analysis. Remember, our challenge to begin with was how many people are under 30 in this whole data set? How many people are over 60 in this whole data set? They're the questions we want to answer. I'm not going to go through that in this video. I want to keep these videos short, but that is your coding challenge. So can you continue this task, complete the analysis, go back to the previous video, see how we created a for next loop to loop through all of the cells to repeat a particular instruction. That's what a loop's doing. Go back to the previous video, revise those techniques. You'll be able to put a loop around this code and then use variables to tally up, use variables to count up those totals. Really good little coding challenge for you. It's going to improve your skills. And this is the kind of thing I'm doing every day in my work. This is the kind of practical task that should be really helpful for you. Okay, that's as far as we're going to go in this series. Let me know in the comments if you managed to create this analysis. I really want to know if you created the analysis. Also, if you managed to check the analysis. Remember, we have to check that the code, test that the code is accurate by doing something a different way. So let me know in the comments, did you manage to work through it? Did you create the analysis? Did you manage to validate the analysis as well? I'm really interested in that. But what have we done? We've gone from simple conditional statements saying to Excel, if this is happening, do that. Just a simple if statement with the command on the same line. Then we moved on to a more complicated one. If this is happening, do that. If not, do this. So we had if, else, and end if. Finally, we've looked at a more sophisticated technique, which is select case. And this is when we have multiple options and we want Excel to do one of them. Case select, different syntax, a little bit trickier, you might say, but super powerful. I'm confident if you know these three techniques, simple if statement, if, else, end if, and select case, you're going to be able to get 99%, if not 100% of coding tasks done where you need some kind of conditional statement type mechanism. These are the only ones I use in my work. I find they're super powerful, super flexible. They allow me to get things done. So thank you for watching this series. I'm Chris from Tiger Spreadsheet Solutions. Really happy you're watching this video. This is a bit of a beginner series. In other videos on the channel, we go much deeper into code, creating reports. I've got a series where I'm trying to write a chess computer using Excel VBA, so we go much deeper in other videos. Very happy to have you on the channel, so thank you, and I hope you'll go and check out the other videos. I'll see you then in another video on the channel.